do is we act as, or we try to act as honest brokers, intermediaries, to facilitate exchanges among actors in the South. And the example of this meeting, I think, is an example of what we do. And I'm very proud to be here to witness the achievements of this meeting, of bringing people together coming from different countries in Africa and share their experiences, their concerns, and come up with very interesting and challenging, but also feasible recommendations. Going more to the ground, and within the framework of this project, which IPAC and AFPAT are implementing on our behalf, we are going to pilot test a new approach, which we have been testing in other different contexts, of participatory mapping. Participatory mapping, which has the objective of collating local spatial knowledge, add authority to that knowledge, which is going to be scaled and geo-referenced, so acceptable to scientists, to engineers, to government officials, to officers in development agencies, and then feed that knowledge into the wider science related to climate change adaptation. We know that science tends to be frequently top-down, makes efforts to be action-based research, also to be driven by the communities, by the concerns of the communities, and so on. But when it comes to spatial data, it is hard to find examples where the communities have complete mastery and command of the tools which they're going to use to produce that information. GIS is a very nice tool, but needs software, needs computers, needs electricity, needs air conditioning, needs costly equipment to run. And in rural areas, you hardly find these facilities. So here in Chad, we are going to do an exercise at the beginning of next year, which implies the construction of a 3D model at village level. In French, it's a maquette. And these 3D models will be at scale and geo-referenced, and will be constructed by students, by the younger generations. In doing that, the students will also learn about the geography, learn about scale, learn about a lot of things. And later on, the elders of the community will transfer their mental maps, their mental knowledge, their experience onto the model, and visualize land use, vegetation cover, and whatever is of relevance to the community and to their livelihood. And these maps, which are generated in a matter of usually 2 to 3 weeks, are very rich in terms of information, are extremely detailed. And I would say that the maps are the end product of a process which is much more relevant than the outcome, than the map itself. Because in doing that, there is a lot of learning which goes with it, a lot of identity building, a lot of becoming more responsible for the resources which are emerging on the map. And finally, there is a lot of ownership. And I think that when it comes to development, owning a decision is the key for success. If you are imposed something, it's hardly implemented. But if you come yourself to take a decision on what to do, as a community, as a people, the likelihood of that to happen is much higher. And I must say that I witnessed many cases where communities, illiterate communities, I worked with the Pygmies in Gabon, I worked with illiterate people in Southeast Asia and doing this kind of maps. Government officials and scientists were sitting by and were astonished by the richness of the knowledge which was emerging, by the accuracy of that knowledge, of that information, okay? And this system is then merged into a GIS. I mean, this local knowledge can be transferred to a more modern geographic information system, which is digital in nature, and then can be cross-checked with information which comes from other sources, validated, and so on. But we have been experiencing that in many cases, in many countries. That's a bridge which allows community knowledge, local knowledge to be visualized, to be localized, and to be shared and understood and appreciated by the different parties involved. So this is an activity which CTA has been carrying out in Africa and is going to carry out now increasingly also in small island states in the Pacific and the Caribbean, because these are situations which are suffering different impacts of climate change, but as severe as the ones which we know in Africa. Thank you very much.